I don't know when I'm leaving. This is an honor and a privilege, and I love working for President Biden, President Biden every single day. I love spending time with him, hearing what's on his mind.
How's everybody doing? My name is Anthony Brian Logan, and today we got to talk about White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki trying and failing to cover up some of Joe Biden's recent gaffes. Now, to speak about the word gaffes right quick, is it a gaffe if you do the same exact thing every single day, meaning mess up? There's always some kind of mishap, always some kind of mess up. Is that a mistake, or is it just you being yourself, right? Remember the whole thing recently about the minor incursion, because you had the whole Ukraine thing going on. You got Russian troops right there at the border. And then Biden was like, hey, if there's any kind of minor incursion, it might not necessarily be a big deal. And then the president of Ukraine went on Twitter and said, hey, you know what? Any incursion is an incursion. Ain't no minor incursion. Okay. If you got troops on the border coming into our country, that's an invasion, regardless of what. It'd be the same thing if Mexico had troops on our border trying to go in through El Paso or San Diego or somewhere like that. It wouldn't be no minor incursion. Oh, it's just a few troops. It's just a few tanks. No. An incursion is an incursion is an incursion. But I digress. Jen Psaki's been trying to do a lot of cover up, a lot of damage control, and it's not really working too well. And it's getting to the point where she's making so-called gaffes of her own. Now, before I go any further, let's roll this clip. In this clip, you're going to see her try to give the American people some hope and have them just be a little bit more relaxed and calm down. But after we get done with that, I'll come back. I'll talk about what she said there. Then I'll give you the rest of my 2 cents and my deep detail analysis. And then I'll wrap it on up with a nice bow on top. So without further ado, let's go ahead and roll it.
So my advice to everyone out there who's frustrated, sad, angry, pissed off, feel those emotions, go to a kickboxing class, have a margarita, do whatever you need to do this weekend, and then wake up on Monday morning, we got to keep fighting. And what that means, Lindsay, is we have to keep talking to members about federal legislation. That's essential. That's something that can be permanent, that can make sure people's rights are protected. But we also need to make sure people are educated in states across the country about what their rights are, how they can vote, when they can vote, how to request an absentee ballot. There's a lot we need to do on that front, and that's going to rely on the energy and the anger of that activism as well.
All right, so you saw that, you heard that. Now, Jen Psaki, I mean, come on, get a margarita, really? Okay, you know what? I'm gonna just pause right here. This is probably what she does. It's probably her lifestyle: going kickboxing, getting a margarita, playing with the cats. Probably a cat farmer herself. I would assume so. Jen Psaki, I would assume so. Maybe she's married, has kids, but I doubt it. Okay, and if you got cats, nothing against you, but a cat farmer like Jen Psaki would say something like, get a margarita, wash your sorrows away. Okay, she might as well have said, get a little bit of fentanyl, get a little bit of cocaine, and make it a party, right? Drown all your sorrows away. When you high and drunk and whatnot, you don't feel any kind of pain. Ain't that right, Jen Psaki? Okay, now the context was she was talking about the whole voting issue. Because they're not able to get things done in the White House the way they want to. They're not able to pass the so-called voting rights bill that they had. They're not able to get Build Back Better passed the way they want. They got Mansion and Cinema and more, obviously, in their way. They can't get things done. So people are angry. They're upset and they're frustrated. The approval rating of Joe Biden is very low. I saw a clip from CNN, of all places, and they said that only like 32 or right around that % of Americans want Joe Biden to run again. And as far as just Democrats only, it's less than 50%. So he's not doing very well. The American people have spoken and said, we don't like all these lockdowns and failed bills, empty promises. You're not doing a good thing. You're not doing a good job. Inflation is crazy. It's killing us. We can't even afford to buy food. You got to choose between buying food, gas, medication. It's getting to be a mess. Housing is a mess. Cars are very expensive. Gas is very expensive. You're not doing a good job here. Okay. And you can't just say, oh, it's the other guy's fault, because that same grace was not given to President Donald Trump when he was in office. Okay. As soon as he got in there, as a matter of fact, before he got into office, he was already being blamed for things that were happening. It's like, how are you going to blame him when he's not even in office? When Obama was still in office, they were still trying to blame Trump for things that were going on at that time, for Black Lives Matter riots and stuff like that. They were trying to do that to Donald Trump. So if you have Joe Biden in office, he's the guy, he's the one allegedly pulling the strings. Then if things aren't going well, you got to blame him. Go straight to the very top. Don't try to blame the former president or Republicans. No. You're the guy. You're the man. Take responsibility. Okay. Be accountable for your action or lack thereof. It's very simple, right? So in her attempt to try and shift blame and move the focus, move the goalpost, she was trying to say, well, if you're angry, man, look, whatever. Just get something to drink and go kickboxing. That'll pretty much fix it. Okay. Use that anger. Lean into the anger. It's like, ma'am, come on. How about you just do right by the American people? Okay. That whole little speech right there, that's like the whole Marie Antoinette, let them eat cake. Let them have margaritas. That's pretty much what was going on right there. And ultimately, if this kind of behavior continues, this whole thing of Joe Biden going out there, short circuiting, not knowing where he's at, saying the wrong thing, saying ridiculous things, embarrassing us on the world stage. You got heads of state offended by what he says. If that keeps going on, then he's going to just continue to plummet in approval rating. He's going to continue to plummet in confidence, as far as the confidence that we have in him as American people. And Kamala Harris is not doing him any favors. She goes out there and is more of a gaffe machine than Joe Biden, which is crazy because Joe Biden has an excuse. He's 1,000 years old. He's been here since the dawn of man. So I understand for a guy like that to have problems. Okay. You're not going to be able to keep your mental state intact forever. Okay. If you're 1,000 years old, you're Methuselah, you're old as dirt, you're old as the sun, moon, and stars. If you're that old, I mean, it's understandable that your mind is not really there. But Kamala Harris, what's she like, in the 50s? Maybe 60, probably like 50s or something. If you're that age and you're declining, it's like, all right, well, I think you're pretty much always like that. Now, I'm not saying Joe Biden was always some kind of rocket scientist, but at least in prior years, back when he first came in office, back around the Jurassic area, he was more astute. He was a little bit more articulate. But now, that's all pretty much gone. He'll be on stage with the deer in the headlights look, not knowing what's happening. Kamala Harris, on the other hand, is just purely incompetent. So you got Tweedledee and Tweedledum on stage, Dumb and Dumber. That's what you have right now in the administration, and the American people, whether they be on the left or the right, can see it. The media can't cover it up, okay? It's like if you got a whole bunch of pigs just roaming around, but one of them has lipstick on, it's still a pig. You didn't change it. People can see what that is. You can't tell me that this pig is some kind of Hollywood movie starlet. It's like, that's not even a human being. That's a animal. That's a farm animal you got right there. That's not a human being. We can see it. The emperor has no clothes. That's what's going on here. So Jen Psaki, your failed attempt at trying to, what they say, what the cool kids say, cape for the president, it didn't go over very well. It seemed pretty out of touch. I know you're living in DC, you got your whole little friend group going on. I get it. I understand. But the American people don't necessarily live quite that way. That advice was not very good advice. People that are struggling, about to be homeless, about to lose their house, can't afford food, gas, clothes, cars, nothing. And you saying, go drink the sorrows away, go kickboxing, do something like that. You can say that because you have a nice, comfy government job, right? Where we pay for it as American taxpayers. But if you were on our side, you wouldn't be saying that. And people do not like that. That's why I like Trump so much. As I close, because Trump, although he is a billionaire or close to it, he was man of the people. He understood what we were going through. He was like us in many ways. But these people in DC right now don't have that. So it's going to be interesting come 2022, and it's weird how they're talking about, oh, well, There may be some lack of voter integrity in 2022, but when we said that about 2020 and how the mail-in ballots were a problem, then we were considered to be tinfoil hat and trying to interfere with the election, and we need to go to the penitentiary, big rocks, little rocks, all that good stuff. Say that about us, but then when it comes to them, they can say that and it's fine. But as I close, I want to say this. Shout out to the administration. You guys are not doing a good job. You're talking about voting rights, all kind of ridiculous things. Talking about, okay, vote for more voting rights. How are you going to do that if you don't already have voting rights? Ridiculous stuff. What we should do is tighten up the elections. Stop making it so easy to go out there and cheat if you want to. Okay, no voter ID, voting at home with no identification at home either. It's just too much stuff going on. We need to have stronger elections to make it easier to vote. Easier to vote, but harder to cheat. And really, judging by what they say about the 2022 election, maybe not necessarily being too sound, they should be on board with that. But they want to play politics and make it be a thing about us versus them, when we should all be on the same page as far as having a secure, safe, and easy election. What's wrong with that? But I think I'll leave that right there for now. And what say you? How do you feel about what's happening right here with the administration? Are these guys pretty much on their last leg? I mean, what do they have? How many arrows in the quiver do they have? The whole Trump thing, that's getting played out. They can't keep talking about Trump. Okay, it's been quite a while now since the election. We're in year number 2. So what's your next trick you're going to pull out of your hat? Okay. And then the whole thing about the virus, that's pretty much over with. The CDC already came out and said that natural immunity is better than the vax. And if you get the Amarion, it's like a head cold, essentially. Not exactly, but essentially, for you guys want to be really critical about that. But whatever your thoughts on that are, let me know in the comments below. You guys pretty much know where I stand. I think that these people in the White House are doing whatever they can to make this person appear to be sentient, to make him appear to be competent. Not just him, but also the vice president and really the whole administration. They're all a bunch of bumbling idiots. And the question will be, how long will they last in office? Is he going to last a whole 4 years? How about Kamala Harris? In 2022, this year, midterms, the red wave is going to be real. 2024, same thing, because we had a good president in Donald Trump. People allegedly voted him out. Now they see what they get. Sometimes people don't really understand what they have until it's gone. But whatever your thoughts are, please let me know in the comments below. And that's all I got to say for this video. If you like what you heard, please comment, rate, share, and subscribe. Peace.